Welcome back to the Russell Russell Show. Today we have a good one for you. Today we are going to be looking at a clip from this site, from this channel, excuse me, called Jubilee, which is a debate channel. And today's debate is the Gen Z liberals versus the boomer liberals. And it was such an interesting conversation. But the clip that I pulled out of there, though, which really got my blood boiling a little bit, has wokeness gone too far? So we're going to get right into the video and let you make your mind up for yourself.
Wokeness has gone too far and alienates moderate voters.
I'll support.
The nuanced group we got.
I think we. Oh.
We could stay here.
I think we don't need moderate voters if we can galvanize the youth or our liberal voters. So Pete, I'm gonna ask you
I gotta stop. Already he's done pissed me off. You can't say that you don't need the moderate voters. You can't say that, because the moderate is the one that may be able to be swayed. And I promise you, there's not enough leftist extremists that you want to pander to that is going to get your point across in such a way that is going to move the voting needle. That is a promise. Keep going.
what the opinion is for you, being older, when you see things like, what was it, the Trump ad that was like Kamala Harris is for they, them, I'm for you. I think that really resonated with a lot of moderate voters and a lot of people, even though that's not necessarily true. But I don't remember in the Kamala's campaign hitting back from that. They kind of just took that. And it really resonated with moderate voters and really galvanized Trump supporters to come out.
Well, if wokeness is marginalized people no longer putting up with racial epithets or discrimination, I'm all for that. But wokeness has been weaponized. Like, I saw a video of a white guy wearing dreadlocks getting harassed. And things like that really can be used by people on the right to demonize the left as a cudgel against them. So I'm not sure what the solution is, but it definitely has been weaponized and been used against Democrats and the left.
And it's not only been used and weaponized against Democrats on the left, it's been weaponized against those like myself who are conservative in nature. I didn't say that I'm a conservative, but I am conservative. I have conservative values, and I am a registered independent. Not that you needed to know that, but I can be swayed. I can be swayed. I am a policy voter, and unfortunately, the wokeness of the Democratic Party was enough for me to decide to vote a different kind of way. Let's keep going.
I feel like this is an interesting conversation because I don't agree with the idea of wokeness having gone too far.
Right.
But I do agree with the idea of it now being at a point to where it's a more alienating concept. I think, one, I would like to start with what the actual definition of, woke or wokeness is. It goes back to the early 1900s from black revolutionaries and even black artists. The original idea until 2016, the idea of wokeness was just surrounded around this idea of consciousness within marginalized people, and just being aware of the systems in place and
which we
the
should
actual
all
stuff.
be.
Exactly.
So,
but I feel like.
But please listen to this young man, because he said it right. Wokeness initially started with the black community. I remember when I was in college in the early to mid 2000s, and that was a big thing in the black community. Are you asleep or are you awake? And it was strictly to bring to light those who are aware of the plight of the black community versus those who just want to go along to get along. And it had absolutely nothing to do with what it has to do with right now, which just drives me crazy. And you know what? I don't mind the what has been incorporated in it, but I don't want it to be in it. Let it be its own thing. Let the LGBTQ movement be its own movement, because what you've done is you've silenced the black community's struggles and the black community's plight. And it does have a plight, whether one wants to acknowledge it or not. And hear me as I say this, as a person who did not vote for the left, that I acknowledge that the black community has a plight. And it was silenced due to the expansion of the woke agenda. Drives me crazy.
It's gotten to a point today, and not on the wokeness topic, but more so on the alienation side, to where the stakes are very dire. It's very in your face, to where I think it goes to what you were saying, to where I personally don't believe there's room for moderation. I think in a perfect government system or in a perfect American society, there would be that room to kind of leave it up to, well, I can go with this issue or I can go with this. But I think things becoming as polarizing as they are, and with the stakes, like, people are getting picked up off the street. Like, that's not a thing that's just like, it's like genuinely happening. Like, there are college students getting kidnapped and sent to El Salvador. So I think it's one of those things where the point and the stakes are getting so high to where there's no room for that. So people who are moderate are going to feel alienated both by the right and by the left. So then it just becomes a question of strategy, and how do you kind of appeal to those people without, I guess, selling out the movement. And I'm curious about you.
I mean,
Very,
I just
very
think the whole
intelligent young
woke
man.
thing just completely grinds my gears. Because, I mean, you referenced the idea
my gears,
that
too.
woke is something that got co-opted from the black, really church. Woke came out of church, stay woke, let him sleep. Meaning you're not aware of what's going on among our people. And to let, white liberals and white conservatives, because the liberals did it too, Y'all are too woke because, you want rights for trans people. Y'all are too woke because you want him, her. And at the end of the day, we forgot that, again, there are people down at the bottom rung who don't have health care, who cannot eat, who cannot find a place to sleep, who cannot find decent housing. And to let the conservative, what do you call those people, moderates and conservatives, run away with this idea, I'm shutting it down every time. You don't even know what the woke is.
And here's the problem. You, ma'am, you can't shut it down every time, because you trying to shut it down has got Mr. Donald Trump in office today. And you may not think that he deserves to be there, but there's a whole plethora of people, a bunch of us, who voted for Donald Trump. And I promise you, the main argument that's being attached to the problem with the Democratic Party is that its wokeness has gone too far. It has gone to include anything and everything on the left, as opposed to what it was originally meant to encompass. So you can't shut people out, and you better wake up and you better pay attention. Otherwise, we're going to have, after this, we're going to have 4 more years of not Donald Trump, but 4 more years of somebody else who is not from your party. Better listen up.
It really just incenses me that we got hung up about this culture stuff. Again, he, her, them, all that. There's 1% of 1% of the population that is trans. And yes, they should have health care. They should have decent places to sleep. They should be able to eat just like all the rest of us.
You're right. And to me, the term moderate is such a useless term.
It is.
You're either for something or you're against it. What's a moderate? What does that mean? It means you don't.
Well, this lady is not intelligent. She clearly is not a well-read person. A person who is a moderate is more towards the center, more towards the center and we can be swayed to either side based upon the side that we agree with the most. There are some things on the left that I absolutely 100% agree with. There are things upon the right that I absolutely 100% agree with. Now, your job, Mr. Running for office person, is to sway those of us in the center to align more with you than we do with the other side. So this lady has absolutely no idea what the hell she is talking about. Let's keep going.
Don't have an opinion.
Yeah, and you don't have to be for the fact that I want to be called they. You don't have to be. Why are we getting hung up on that?
Right. Doesn't affect me. Right.
Yeah, it's because it's become a poison pill. You know, that term is a poison pill. And since it is now, and we continue harping on it, it is something that if we're going to use the word moderate, whatever that means, it's hard for anybody to find themselves in the position that you're saying, where everybody who's down, who's at the bottom, wondering when they're going to get their health care, when they're going to, and now we're still talking about this.
It becomes a semantics issue.
Yes,
They use
it's a thing that is so
woke.
in the way.
Take it back. I'm woke as
Take it
hell,
back.
and I'm
And
gonna
they did that on
continue
purpose.
to
Yeah,
get
they-
more and
on
more
purpose.
woke. Every
Yeah.
time I find
Arguing
some
over language,
injustice.
you're not arguing over issues.
Exactly.
Well, wokeness has been used by cynical politicians to hide their agenda. You have rich conservatives who want to lower taxes, have a smaller government, but they know their policies aren't popular. So they create these social justice issues to manipulate people who wouldn't normally vote for their policies, to get them to vote for them, to say, you need me to protect you from those people.
The boogeyman.
I feel like it becomes very interesting, especially when you look at kind of, I guess, the culture created by MAGA and like that whole thing. The people he disenfranchises the most are his bigger voter base. You know, it's poor, white, relatively undereducated like people. And it's one of those things to where if you can get people so mad at this boogeyman, because most of these towns, are predominantly white, heterosexual, like they
People
don't
of
have
color,
black people
That's
there.
the boogeyman.
Exactly.
I gotta stop this. There is no boogeyman. There is no boogeyman. I 100% am an aware voter. I am a policy voter. I am a I am a values voter. And so I probably am as equal values as I am policy, because most of the time values inform the policy. And so there is no boogeyman. It is absolutely a disgrace what the left has allowed itself to become. The left used to be about the working person. The left used to be about healthcare. The left used to be about taking care of the downtrodden. And they may have that as part of their agenda, but that is not the agenda that people are voting for. That is not the agenda, because that's not what is being promoted on the campaign trails. And it drives me crazy. That's the way that you get those of us who went from left to the right back, is you get back to where you used to be, taking care of regular people.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just the concept. And most of them haven't even really, there's so many people who haven't even met black people who are scared of us. And it's so crazy.
In
but
this
it's like,
country,
In
yes.
this country. And it's so ridiculous because that's their biggest voter base. And when you look at the way in which he's kind of created this idea and like this fear and this culture of hate, it's so enticing to them because my life is horrible because I'm white. And all of this tax money is going to black people on welfare or going to schools in Chicago or whatever that looks like to them. And they don't even realize that their schools are just as underfunded. Like, is it Louisiana or Kentucky that's like at the bottom of education? But then both are
more or
like
less,
80%
Mississippi.
for Trump. And it's just like the craziest thing to see because these people don't care about you and they're not helping you in any type of way, but they've genuinely created this culture in where you feel so seen and heard because he appeals to their emotional side. And it's a complete attack on a culture or an idea of people that is false.
And God, this is just driving me crazy. I wish they could wake up on the left and see how repulsive their messaging is. It is an absolute disgrace. And we're not even talking about the LGBTQ community because that's a lot of what they're referring to. But I think about Kamala Harris, who I would never vote for, and at one of her campaign rallies, having Megan the Stallion out there twerking. So you're going to have Megan the Stallion out there twerking in order to sway people to vote for you. You have got to be out of your ever loving mind. Let's keep going.
And it's so
that's the cult.
fascinating.
That's the cult.
Because it's a simple
Exactly.
idea. I have to find somebody to blame.
Right.
Can the disagree step forward?
I personally think we all need to be more awake. I think
This
the
woman is
more
crazy.
awake that we can be, the better. The more woke we can be, the better. Do I think it has been co-opted? Yes. I think certain people want to paint a culture that being woke is bad to get us to stop and to push against people becoming more educated and learning more and waking up to the system and the forces that have us here. I think being woke is great. I think everyone needs to wake up.
Sure, but does that alienate the moderate voter?
I personally don't care about the moderate voter. I personally like
Did you hear this woman?
James Baldwin said, the moderates, Republicans, moderate, Democrats, Tweedledee, Tweedledum.
Let me ask you this. Half the country leans to the right. In your vision for America,
More
what
than
should
half
happen
the
to those
country,
people?
sir.
I believe that as a society, we need to get educated, okay? And I believe that those people are entitled to an education and they need to
Should
learn.
they be sent to re-education camps?
No. What? No. Who said that? Should anyone be sent to re-education camps?
That's what happened in the left-wing revolutions in China.
Okay, so what I believe needs to occur is, first of all, our textbooks need to be accurate.
Yes.
The textbooks need to describe the violence that was inflicted upon Black people, upon Native Americans, upon anyone who was not white. We need to go deep into that and become awakened to really what has happened to people of color. After we realize that, okay, then I believe people will be a lot more empathetic and a lot more compassionate.
I gotta stop it right there. I'm gonna let it play. I'm gonna play it again in a second. But she's not wrong, but she's not right. So the point is, she thinks that that the textbooks should accurately reflect what occurred, and I don't think she's wrong about that. I think if it's American history and it occurred in America, and it's unfortunately the includes the sins of America, that we should know about it. 100%. But the truth of the matter is that most people know about it. Excuse me. Most people understand that this country was the original sin was slavery. So it's not like people are absolutely dumb, deaf, and blind to what occurred. But the point is that all of that occurred. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna play it and then I'm gonna break it down once she's done.
And we can then move forward on how we can make things right and how capitalism has inflicted a lot of that violence and how we as America can actually give back to the world because we have taken so much from other people that do not live here through imperialism.
You're saying the United States needs to be more woke. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
It should come from the top down.
You're from the South.
Absolutely.
A lot of people are taught of the war of northern aggression instead of the Civil War.
Exactly.
That's something that
There's always a way. There's always a way to
in the
spin
war.
it.
Support.
So I'm probably gonna do a couple videos because they had probably 2 or 3 really good segments. But here's the point for me is As I get older, I no longer look at right or wrong. I look at consequence and I look at outcome. Okay, so let's deal with the education system. So in the education system, we can include what has occurred, original sin of this country. We can. Okay, got it. But look at the state of the black community. We know the teachers who are teaching these young people know what has occurred. And honestly, it's not that white people or brown people or yellow people need to know. It's black people need to know so that they can take some pride in where they came from, which has been through slavery and Jim Crow and the black codes and the civil rights movement and lynching and murdering. And we made it out and we have prospered. And look at the black community today. Look at it. It's a damn hot mess. It's a mess. And you can only blame people for so long. And I think at this point in our country's, the station of our country is that the days of blaming people are over. And as a matter of fact, if I go to the black community and I tell them my sad sob story, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me, I promise you, all the older folks aren't going to say, oh, poor baby, I'm so sorry what happened to you. They're going to say, get up, get a job, pick yourself up, dust your bootstraps off, and get to work. That's what they're going to say. It's a very conservative mindset. And I promise you that the black community specifically has lost its way. And that's why the black community needs to abandon any semblance of wokeness, because it does not represent their best interests. And honestly, whose responsibility is it to raise a young black community up? It's the black communities. It's not the education system. The education system should be teaching science, technology, engineering, math, and maybe arts. Matter of fact, definitely arts. I don't want to exclude that. But we can't blame the white person, the white community, generational curses any longer. If I got to go to work, you got to go to work. If I had to struggle, you had to struggle. You have to struggle. And guess what? White people are struggling too. Brown people are struggling too. Yellow people are struggling too. That's the way of the world. That's the way of the world. Anyway, let me get up out of here. Tomorrow I'm going to record another video and let you see some of the other commentary. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll get back with you on the rebound.